Hello guys, David here with Btekt, and today I want to talk about the Xperia 10 and the Xperia 10 Plus. Brand new mid-range handsets from Sony, very affordable and fairly unique with its 21:9 aspect ratio. Now from what I can gather, it seems to be splitting opinion amongst people, so I wanted to make this video to clearly outline the advantages and disadvantages that you get from using this screen, but also to give you an idea of what the differences are between these two handsets, which will hopefully help you decide on which one to ultimately go for. But before all that, let me say a big thank you to Direct Mobiles. They have an amazing 24 years of award-winning customer service, so they really know what they're talking about. You're in good hands, and they also have comparison tools, so you're bound to find the perfect fit. Their link is in the video description below, or you can just search directmobiles.co.uk. So I want to start by talking about the advantages that you get whilst you're using this 21:9 screen. Personally, I really like it, and if you think about it, it does kind of make sense, lending itself to the majority of things that we do with our smartphones, such as scrolling through Instagram or Facebook. In fact, all the social media apps scale up quite nicely and look great. And then there's any kind of video content that may have been shot in this cinematic style. So what's this 21:9 screen aspect ratio all about then? Well, basically it matches video or films that were shot using anamorphic lenses. Anamorphic lenses compress the resolution into a smaller space, so it takes the original screen format, which when using anamorphics is usually around 4:3, and then the lens compresses the image until you end up with this letterbox effect. Anamorphic lenses are incredibly expensive and also give a particular type of lens flare that you'll see in most big Hollywood blockbusters. The effect of the anamorphic lens is that you're left with these black borders at the top and the bottom. So a screen with this aspect ratio will get rid of those black bars whilst keeping the full image with all that extra resolution compressed into that space. In theory, it's a good idea as long as you're going to be watching plenty of content in 21:9. Watching 16:9 content on this screen will give black borders to the left and the right of the image. Of course, you can pinch in and zoom to fill the screen, but you're going to be losing quite a bit of the image from the top and the bottom. So I guess it's swings and roundabouts really. It's improving the user experience in some ways, but doing the opposite in others. I can understand why it splits opinion. I'm kind of split on it myself. Sometimes I think I really like it and it's the way forward. More smartphones should be made like this. But then you run into certain problems. Even things like Instagram TV. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice that I've been putting up short previews about videos that I'm doing on Btekt in a portrait style, as you have to on Instagram TV. And I noticed watching back my videos on this screen, it did clip the image on either side. I love how the screen extends all the way down to the bottom of the device, but don't be fooled, the top bezel is pretty massive, and the reason for that is because it contains the front facing camera as well as the necessary hardware for the screen, which would have usually been placed at the bottom bezel. So they've just flipped it on its head. And although some people might complain about that massive forehead, it doesn't really bother me. Some people say it looks like a remote control or like a bar of chocolate, but I think it looks really elegant and stylish and modern. So for one, I am pleased with the design choices that they made with the Xperia 10 and the 10 Plus. But I think it could be a little bit of a case of form over function. Even me with my big hands can only reach about 3/4 of the way up the device. And when you are watching 16:9 videos, zooming to fill the screen just gets rid of too much of the image for me. So I prefer to watch it zoomed out. It's definitely a quirky device. I think it's great when manufacturers are not scared to try something new. But unfortunately, for me, this device is let down a little bit. Not by the screen, but by its chipset. I find the Xperia 10 Plus to be a little bit slow. I have seen it stutter while scrolling through my Google feed, and I find it quite slow to react to things. Even the fingerprint scanner can sometimes seem like it's on a bit of a delay. To me, really, that's the only thing letting this phone down. I really wish it had a faster chipset. But please don't get me wrong, performance isn't terrible, but it does seem to struggle sometimes, especially when there's lots of apps open. So what are the main differences between the Xperia and the Xperia 10 Plus? Well, the Xperia 10 runs on the Snapdragon 630 mobile platform, has a 2870 mAh battery and 3 GB of RAM with 64 GB of internal storage. Both devices are upgradable to 512. The 10 Plus runs on the Snapdragon 636 platform, has a 3000 mAh battery and 4 GB of RAM with 64 GB of onboard storage. And then obviously there's the size. Although neither of these devices feel big to me, despite the Xperia 10 Plus having that massive 6.5-inch display. I know it's a bit of an illusion because these are big devices, even the Xperia 10, but their slim design does make it feel small and pocketable. The other difference between these two phones is in the camera system. The Xperia 10 comes with a 13 megapixel main camera with an f2.0 lens, backed up by a 5 megapixel sensor with an f2.4 lens. The Xperia 10 Plus has actually got quite a major upgrade in this department. The main camera, although having a slightly lower megapixel count at 12, is an Exmor RS for mobile imaging sensor. It also has a faster f1.75 lens, and it's backed up by an 8 megapixel telephoto lens with an f2.4 aperture. The Exmor sensor on the Xperia 10 Plus should give you much better low light performance. For starters, it's got a faster lens, but the Exmor imaging sensors are optimized to gather more light. So if you're into photography, it's definitely worth spending the extra cash to get the Xperia 10 Plus. So far, it seems like the camera performs pretty well, even at night. I'll be properly putting the camera through its paces very soon, so look out for my full camera review. One thing that's definitely worth noting about both of these devices is that the sound quality is excellent. They both have mono speakers, and neither one is particularly loud or really sounds that good. But listening through headphones, whether wired or Bluetooth, and the Sonys sound amazing, putting flagships like the Mate 20 Pro to shame. For the wired headset, you get the DSEE HX, which upgrades the quality of the compressed music files to near high-res audio. And there is also the Clear Audio Plus settings, which automatically optimizes the sound. And by my ears, it does a very good job at doing so. If you love your music, you will love this phone, because it really does a good job at bringing out the best in the sound. But altogether, I think it's a very interesting entry to the market from Sony with the Xperia 10 and the 10 Plus. It won't be for everybody, but if you like to be a little bit different, for £350 this is definitely not a bad phone. I really wish it was just a little bit faster because it can get bogged down at times. But if you're not a power user, you should be perfectly fine with the performance. But anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching, guys. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. It's at Btekt. Or you can catch me on Snapchat at david.btekt. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the subscribe button, double tap notifications and smash the like button. I'm David and this is Btekt.